This is the story of Star Wars. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep, like this. Let's begin now. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the hope of freedom was kept alive by rebel forces fighting against the evil Galactic Empire. In a daring raid, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. But as the rebels raced back to their base, they were pursued by a powerful Imperial starship. On board the small rebel craft, 2 droid units were knocked about as deadly laser bolts exploded outside. C-3PO, the taller, human-like droid, said to his companion,
R2-D2, the Imperial starship is getting closer. We'll be destroyed for sure. This is madness. We're doomed.
Within minutes, dozens of Imperial stormtroopers boarded the rebel craft, firing their laser rifles. The helpless rebel soldiers could only surrender. Through the hatch strode a black-cloaked, helmeted figure, Darth Vader, the fierce Imperial warrior.
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans.
While stormtroopers searched frantically for the stolen plans, the rebel leader, Princess Leia, called R2-D2 into a deserted corridor.
Here, R2. I have placed the secret plans and a message in your memory banks. You and C-3PO must take an escape pod, land on the planet of Tatooine below, and deliver the plans to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He will know what to do.
Only seconds after the 2 droids blasted off, Princess Leia was captured and brought before Darth Vader.
How dare you attack us, Lord Vader? We are on a diplomatic mission.
Don't play games with me, Your Highness,
answered Vader.
You are a part of the Rebel Alliance. On the Death Star, you will tell us where your secret base is. Come.
Meanwhile, below on Tatooine, a young lad named Luke Skywalker was yearning to join the rebellion and soar through the galaxy fighting the evil Empire. But Luke felt he should stay and work on his uncle's struggling farm. How could Luke know that the key to his dreams was only a few miles away? The 2 droids had landed with the plans. R2 and 3PO were soon picked up by Jawas, a band of small desert scavengers. The Jawas took the droids to Luke's farm, hoping to sell them for a good price. Luke looked the droids over.
Okay, we'll take them. Follow me, you 2. I'll clean you up in the shed.
As Luke scraped the dirt off R2, he accidentally triggered Leia's message. Her projected image pleaded,
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Luke was puzzled.
I wonder if she means old Ben Kenobi, the desert hermit. Come on, you 2. Let's go see him.
Old Ben was full of surprises.
Yes, my boy. I was once called Obi-Wan Kenobi, back when I was a Jedi Knight, like your father.
My father was a Jedi?
Asked the startled youth, remembering stories about the noble knights who kept the peace before the Empire took control.
Yes, Luke. And this was his lightsaber. I've been saving it for you.
Ben handed Luke a sleek cylinder. At the touch of a button, an intense beam of light shot out to form a glowing blade.
This is the weapon of the Jedi. Your father was killed by a treacherous pupil of mine named Darth Vader. According to the princess's message, Vader will soon be using the Death Star to destroy rebel planets. Luke, For the sake of your father and the Rebel Alliance, you must help me deliver these secret plans and stop Darth Vader. I will teach you how to use the Force, the power which gives the Jedi his strength and skill.
Luke eagerly agreed to help.
Very good, Luke.
Smiled Ben.
Now come. Stormtroopers will soon be looking for you and your droids. We must find a pilot who will take us to Princess Leia's home planet of Alderaan at once.
Their search began in a local tavern filled with strange alien creatures. In a dark booth, Ben and Luke located a brash smuggler pilot named Han Solo.
Sure, I can get you to Alderaan, but it'll cost you plenty. Smuggling rebel sympathizers through Imperial blockades is no picnic.
Han's co-pilot, Chewbacca, a shaggy 8-foot Wookiee, roared his agreement. Luke, Ben, and the droids boarded Han's ship, the Millennium Falcon, with stormtroopers hot on their trail. Only Han's skill as a pilot put them safely out of the Empire's reach. But as the Falcon neared Alderaan, Han couldn't believe his eyes.
Look, the planet's gone. It's been blown to bits.
This is Darth Vader's work,
Said Ben sadly. Vader's huge battle station, the Death Star, was lurking nearby and had detected the Falcon's presence.
Let's get out of here!
Shouted Han.
Chewie, the controls aren't responding. We're caught in a tractor beam. It's pulling us right into the Death Star. Quick, everyone, into this secret compartment. When we land, those stormtroopers will think the ship's empty.
Meanwhile, Darth Vader was questioning Princess Leia in her prison cell.
Where is the secret rebel base?
You'll never learn that from me.
Snapped Leia.
Your cruel destruction of Alderaan has only strengthened my loyalty.
Vader angrily turned to leave when suddenly he stopped.
I sense a tremor in the Force. There is a presence. Yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi is here. I feel it.
In the meantime, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca had come out of hiding to find Princess Leia and release her. She had expected a different rescuer.
Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
He's trying to shut off a tractor beam so we can fly out of here.
Said Han impatiently.
Now let's move it.
There go the alarms!
Shouted Luke.
Hurry!
Stormtroopers raced after them, filling the air with laser fire. Luke, Han, and Chewbacca fought back bravely, but they were hopelessly outnumbered.
I never bargained for this.
Complained Han between blasts.
Head for the Falcon.
Ben succeeded in shutting off the tractor beam, but his return to Han's ship was blocked by Darth Vader.
So, we meet again, Obi-Wan Kenobi. This time, I will destroy you.
If you do, Darth, I will only grow stronger.
The two warriors lit their lightsabers. A furious battle began. The air hummed and sparks flew as lightsabers swung and clashed. Finally, Darth's saber cut through Ben's cloaks. But the old Jedi was no longer there. He had vanished. Luke and the others dashed aboard the Millennium Falcon as Han leaped to the controls.
Okay, Chewie, hit it.
Engines roared, and the Falcon shot out of the docking bay. Han hollered to Luke.
Get to a laser cannon, kid. We've got 4 Imperial TIE fighters chasing us.
Luke, still stunned by Ben's disappearance, managed to fire the cannon repeatedly until he and Han had shot down all their pursuers. Leia directed Han to the secret rebel base, where she turned over the stolen plans. After much study, the Death Star's weak spot was found. Rebel pilots had to hit an exhaust port with their proton torpedoes, but the rebel forces were pitifully small compared to the might of the Imperial legions. The rebel commander was happy to accept Luke's help, and the young warrior joined the bombing run as an X-Wing pilot. As the rebel squadron flew toward the terrible Death Star, Luke thought,
Even if we're not shot at, zeroing in on that tiny target will be practically impossible.
Heads up.
called the squadron leader.
TIE fighters approaching.
As the two enemies engaged, the blackness of space was lit by beams from hundreds of laser cannons. The squadron leader spoke again.
There's the target at the end of that trench in the Death Star surface. Begin bombing run. Now.
X-Wings skimmed the trench time and again, but either missed the target or were shot down by TIE fighters. As Luke zoomed down into the trench, he glanced over his shoulder.
Oh no, it's Darth Vader, and he's right on my tail!
Vader prepared to fire. Suddenly, a familiar ship swooped down and sent Vader's fighters spinning off into space.
Okay, kid, you're all clear.
It was Han Solo and his Falcon. But the next voice Luke heard was Ben Kenobi's.
Luke, use the Force. Let it guide your actions.
Closing his eyes, Luke concentrated on the target and fired his proton torpedoes. They flew straight and true into the exhaust port. As Luke lifted away, the Death Star exploded in a dazzling ball of flame. Luke had succeeded with Han Solo's help. Back at the Rebels' secret base, the two received a hero's welcome. In a grand ceremony, Princess Leia placed medals around their necks, while the joyful Rebel troops looked on. Luke Skywalker, the simple farm boy, had realized his dream and proved himself a leader in the Rebel cause. This is the story of The Empire Strikes Back. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep like this. Let's begin now. It was a dark time for the rebellion. After the loss of the Death Star, the evil Galactic Empire intensified its efforts to crush the Rebel Alliance. Princess Leia and her small band of freedom fighters sought out the remote ice planet of Hoth for their new secret base. From atop a shaggy tauntaun, Commander Luke Skywalker surveyed the snowy landscape.
Well, girl, no sign of Imperial troops. It looks like we're safe for now.
Deep in the frozen caverns of the Rebel base, the famous star pilot Han Solo watched a blip on the radar screen.
Looks like trouble. An Imperial probe droid. Come on, Chewie. Let's take care of that thing.
Outside, Han and his Wookiee co-pilot tracked down the intruder. As Chewbacca distracted the droid, Han blasted it into 1,000 fiery pieces. But before being destroyed, the probe had transmitted a final message to the evil commander of the Imperial fleet, Darth Vader.
Set a course for Hoth. The rebels are there, and Skywalker is with them.
Suspecting danger, the rebels began evacuating their base. Princess Leia's voice rang through the ice halls.
Air and ground troops, to your battle stations.
As the rebels waited nervously for an enemy attack, the ground began to tremble violently. Inside the base, ice walls shattered and heavy machinery toppled to the ground. Han raced to Leia's side.
I don't know what's heading this way, Princess, but it's shaking the place apart.
Walkers, huge dinosaur-like war machines, stomped their way across the snowy ground. Deadly cannons roared as they marched toward the base, crushing everything in their path. Luke led a squadron of snowspeeders against the machines.
It's no use. Their armor's too strong for our blasters. We've got to hold them off long enough to get everyone out of the base.
As the last wave of rebels left Hoth, Princess Leia turned quickly to Han.
Well, I guess this is goodbye. I've got to get to my craft now.
Suddenly, a wall of ice crashed down, blocking her escape route. Han tugged Leia toward the Millennium Falcon.
It looks like you're stuck with me, Your Highness.
The golden droid C-3PO shuffled hurriedly after them.
Surely you wouldn't think of leaving me behind.
Darth Vader led his Imperial troops into the hangar as Han tried desperately to start the Falcon's engines.
Would it help if I got out and pushed?
Snapped Leia.
This baby's still got a few surprises. Okay, Chewie, punch it.
The Falcon roared out of the hangar, leaving Vader empty-handed.
I want that ship.
C-3PO sighed happily.
Thank goodness we're finally safe.
Don't get too comfortable,
Warned Han.
We've got some TIE fighters right on our tail.
And they're gaining, hotshot.
Added Leia.
Well, if I can't outrace them, Your Highness, I'll just have to outfly them. Hold on.
Han steered straight into a dangerous asteroid field. Under his skillful control, the Falcon dodged left and right, just scraping past the speeding rocks. Unable to follow Han's wild course, the pursuers smashed into the asteroids.
Now let's find a safe port.
Smiled Han. His terrified passengers agreed wholeheartedly. Back on Hoth, Luke boarded his X-Wing fighter and greeted his droid co-pilot R2-D2.
Okay, R2, all ships are away. Now, let's get out of here.
As Luke punched a new course into the computer, he heard a questioning chirp.
That's right. We're not joining the others. We're going to Dagobah. I'm going to train to be a Jedi, like my father.
Darth Vader sat alone in his meditation chamber aboard the Imperial destroyer Avenger when an urgent message from the Emperor arrived.
There is a grave disturbance in the Force. Should young Skywalker become a Jedi, he will be a terrible threat to us.
An evil plan began to form in Vader's mind.
He will join us or die, my master.
Darth Vader knew he could catch Luke in a deadly trap if he used the right bait, Han and Leia. From all over the galaxy, Vader summoned bounty hunters.
I'm offering a generous reward for finding Solo and the princess. After I have Skywalker, you may have Solo. I'm told he has a handsome price on his head. This could be a very profitable undertaking for you, gentlemen.
Luke's fighter landed on the murky swamp planet of Dagobah.
Ben Kenobi said I'd find Yoda, the Jedi Master, here. But this place gives me the creeps. I feel like...
You feel like what?
Luke drew his blaster and whirled around to see an ancient little creature emerging from the fog. The odd creature pointed to Luke's blaster
Away, put your weapon. You'll not learn the ways of the Force with that. So, you wish to become Jedi, like your father.
But how do you know about the Force or my father? Why, you're Yoda. I was expecting someone larger.
Judge me not by size, for my ally is the Force.
Luke began the rigorous training to become a Jedi. Yoda asked him to do seemingly impossible things like move heavy objects with only his thoughts and balance himself on one hand. The skeptical youth replied,
Okay, I'll try.
No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
So, under Yoda's instruction, Luke learned to use the Force for good. Meanwhile, Han brought the Millennium Falcon in for a landing on the immense floating colony of Cloud City.
My buddy Lando runs this place. He and I go way back. We used to be partners in the sweetest smuggling racket.
But can we trust this friend of yours?
Asked Leia.
No, but he has no love for the Empire.
Lando led his guests to the banquet room to celebrate their arrival. Suddenly, Imperial stormtroopers surrounded them.
Sorry, old buddy,
said Lando miserably.
Darth Vader and a bounty hunter arrived just before you did. I had no choice. They're looking for someone called Skywalker.
But why would Vader want Luke?
Wondered Leia. At that same moment, as Luke was training, a frightening vision formed in his mind. He saw his friends imprisoned on Cloud City.
I must go to them.
Yoda shook his head.
No, ready you are not. Only a Jedi can defeat Vader. The training you must finish, then go.
But they're my friends. I'll be back, Master Yoda. I promise.
Darth Vader stood in Cloud City's carbon freezing room.
I'll take Skywalker to the Emperor, frozen but unharmed. We'll test it first. Bring in Captain Solo.
Han was lowered into a deep pit. Sub-freezing gases swirled about him, encasing him in a hard metal form.
Solo's alive and in perfect hibernation. Excellent. Reset the machine for Skywalker.
Luke's X-Wing slipped into Cloud City. Led by the Force, he found himself face to face with his enemy, Darth Vader. Their lightsabers sprang to life. Luke attacked boldly, forcing the Dark Lord to retreat.
You have learned much, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet.
Darth Vader slashed the weapon out of Luke's hand and backed him onto a bridge.
Don't make me destroy you. Your future lies with me, for I am your father.
Luke was stunned.
No. No! It's not true! I'll never join you!
With that, Luke stepped from the bridge and plunged helplessly toward the emptiness below. Lando secretly released Leia and Chewbacca.
Here's some blasters. Come on, we're getting out of here.
But we've got to try to save Han.
But before Leia could finish, they were caught in a crossfire.
Stormtroopers, quick, to the Falcon!
Just before Luke tumbled into space, he managed to grab a protruding weather vane. As the Millennium Falcon streaked away, Leia saw Luke dangling precariously beneath Cloud City.
Chewie, get under him!
Lando opened the top hatch and pulled the wounded youth safely inside.
Okay, now can we get out of here?
Soon after, Luke awoke in the medical center of a rebel cruiser. Lando greeted him.
Hi, kid. I'm glad I got to see you before I left. Chewie and I are going to find Han. The bounty hunter's got a head start, but we'll catch up.
Luke and Leia watched the Millennium Falcon launch away.
Take care, my friends. And may the Force be with you.
This is the story of Return of the Jedi. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep like this. Let's begin now. Rebel commanders were planning their next move against the evil Galactic Empire. Little did they know the rebellion was doomed, for the Emperor had ordered a new and more powerful Death Star to be built. And to protect the gigantic space station during its construction, an invisible shield was thrown around it from a large generator on the nearby moon of Endor. The Rebel Alliance would be wiped out once and forever. Meanwhile, on the desert planet of Tatooine, the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt was holding Han Solo in his menacing fortress. The foul, dimly lit palace was filled with alien guards, bounty hunters, and horrible monsters. But none was worse than the huge slug-like Jabba himself. Yet Han Solo's friends were not afraid. They would face anything to save Han from his carbon-frozen state. First, the droids, C-3PO and R2-D2, tried pleading with Jabba, but he enslaved them. Then, Chewbacca was sold to Jabba by a bounty hunter named Boushh. But late one night, Boushh approached the carbonite block that held Han. A switch was thrown, and the block melted. Han was free. He faced Boushh.
Who are you?
The figure removed its helmet.
Someone who loves you. Now let's move it, Flyboy.
It was Princess Leia. However, the rescue was short-lived. Jabba's guards immediately seized the two and put them in prison. Then a black-robed figure strode bravely into the main room.
Listen to me, Jabba. I am Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. I come unarmed, but do not underestimate my powers.
A guard's blaster flew across the room and into Luke's grasp.
Release my friends or be destroyed, Jabba.
But the gangster only laughed. A trapdoor opened. Luke fell into a dark cell which held a monstrous rancor. But the young Jedi soon defeated the beast. Jabba was furious. C-3PO translated his angry shouts to the others.
Oh dear. He says he is going to keep Princess Leia, R2, and me for himself. But Master Luke, Captain Solo, and Chewbacca are to be taken out to the Dune Sea by skiff. There they will be thrown into a pit containing the man-eating Sarlacc.
Before long, Han found himself outdoors on an air skiff, hovering over the deadly desert trap.
Luke, if this is your big escape plan, so far I'm not crazy about it.
I had to get us all out of Jabba's palace first. Just stay close to Chewie and that guard at the back. That's Lando.
Then, Luke signaled to R2-D2 aboard Jabba's floating sail barge. The tiny droid fired a lightsaber over the pit, and into Luke's waiting hand, the weapon flashed to life, and Jabba's guards were destroyed. A blast rocked the skiff. Sail barge guns were firing at them. Lando toppled overboard, sliding toward the Sarlacc pit. Han shouted.
Go get Jabba, Luke. Chewie and I will rescue Lando.
Luke leaped onto the sail barge, attacking the gun crews fearlessly. He then blasted the ship with its own gun.
Come on, Leia. Jabba's finished.
The two escaped to the skiff with the droids as the pleasure barge exploded in flames. Before Luke could rejoin the Rebel Alliance, he had to visit Dagobah to speak with Yoda, the Jedi Master. The young Jedi had a burning question.
Master, is Darth Vader my father?
Yoda grew sad.
Your father, he is. But face him, you must, Luke. Of the Emperor, beware, or to the dark side of the Force will he turn you, like Vader. The last of the Jedi are you.
Luke shut his eyes.
Then it is I who must face Lord Vader.
Luke returned to Rebel headquarters in time to hear surprising news from Mon Mothma, leader of the Alliance.
We have learned that the Emperor is aboard the new Death Star, so we are sending our entire fleet to destroy it. General Solo will lead a strike team to Endor to shut down the deflector shield. That will permit the fleet, under General Lando Calrissian's leadership, to attack. All right, good luck, and may the Force be with you.
Han piloted a stolen Imperial shuttle toward Endor's deflector shield.
This baby may not be as fast as the Millennium Falcon, Chewie, but it'll have to do. Lando needs our ship for his attack.
The radio crackled to life.
This is Deflector Shield Control. Identify yourself.
Leia nervously transmitted a clearance code.
I hope that secret code we stole works.
She waited breathlessly. The shield opened for them.
We did it!
Darth Vader entered the Emperor's throne room on the Death Star and kneeled.
A small rebel force has landed on Endor, my master. My son is with them. I felt him.
Yes, I know. You must go to Endor and wait for him. He will come to you, and you will then bring him before me. Together we will turn him to the dark side of the Force.
Yes, my master.
No sooner had Han's strike team landed in the forest of Endor than it ran into some Imperial scouts. Han watched them jump to their speeder bikes.
We've got to keep them from reporting to the others.
Han and Chewie fired their blasters. The escaping bikes exploded, knocking their riders to the ground senseless. But two other riders got away. Luke and Leia chased them on speeder bikes. They weaved among the giant trees at breakneck speed. Finally, the rebels forced the biker scouts to tumble helplessly into the unyielding trees. When Leia didn't return, the team searched the woods for her. Suddenly, they were surrounded by crude spears held by tiny bear-like warriors. C-3PO listened to their squeaky language.
They're Ewoks, Captain Solo, and they say that you are their prisoners.
Us? What about you, Goldenrod?
I'm their guest. I believe they think I'm some sort of god.
Oh, great.
The rebels were tied up and taken to the Ewok village high in the trees, where they were reunited with Leia. Luke had an idea.
3PO, tell them if they don't release us, you'll become angry and use your great magic.
But Master Luke, what magic? I don't... Help!
Using the Force, Luke floated C-3PO over the Ewoks' heads. The furry warriors chattered nervously with their chief.
It seems the trick worked, Master Luke. They have vowed to help us fight the Empire.
The next day, Darth Vader arrived at the Imperial base on Endor. Stormtroopers marched a rebel prisoner to him and left.
Ah, young Skywalker. The Emperor told me you'd seek me out.
I surrendered so I could talk with you, Father. There is still good in you. I feel it. The Emperor hasn't driven it fully from me. I can help you turn away from the dark side.
Someone has filled your mind with foolish ideas, young one. The Emperor will show you the true nature of the Force. Come.
Vader took Luke to the Emperor's throne room. The black-robed ancient figure looked up.
Welcome, young Jedi. I look forward to completing your training. Soon you will call me Master.
You're mistaken. Soon you and this Death Star will be destroyed.
No, it is you who are mistaken. Your friends are all walking into a trap of my devising. The rebel attack is doomed.
On Endor, Han and his troops overpowered the few soldiers guarding the Imperial bunker.
See? Nothing to it, Leia. We'll have that shield down in a flash.
Hands up, rebel scum. You're surrounded.
What? Han spun around to see dozens of Imperial stormtroopers pointing laser rifles.
We were set up.
The rebel fleet raced toward the Death Star with the Millennium Falcon in the lead. Lando checked his instruments.
Something's wrong.
The shield is still up.
Lando steered the ship sharply away and called into the comlink.
It's a trap. All craft pull up. Evasive action.
Most of the fleet turned in time, but some ships smashed into the invisible shield. Then, hundreds of Imperial fighters attacked the rebel fleet. Lando's voice filled the command center aboard the main rebel star cruiser.
Admiral Akbar, we can't go forward and we can't retreat. Our only hope is to stand and fight it out.
Suddenly, a blinding beam flashed out from the Death Star, blowing up a rebel cruiser. Lando shouted,
That blast came from the Death Star, Admiral. It's operational. Where is Han?
Things looked hopeless for Han and his strike team. But then, from the forest, hundreds of Ewoks attacked the stormtroopers. They dropped rocks, swung from trees, and threw spears. Chewbacca tossed stormtroopers about as Han and Leia made a break for the bunker.
We've got to get that shield down, or the fleet will be shot to bits.
The Emperor beamed at Luke.
Your fleet and your friends are lost. Good. I can feel your anger, young Jedi. Strike me down.
The lightsaber leaped into Luke's hand, and he swung it at the Emperor. But Vader's weapon stopped the blow.
Now you must fight me once more.
Their shining blades flashed time and again in fierce combat. Then, with a terrible frenzy, Luke slashed at Vader, driving the Dark Lord to his knees. The Emperor was delighted.
Good. Kill him, Luke. Your hate has made you powerful. Now you'll join the dark side.
Luke threw down his weapon.
Never! I'm a Jedi as my father was before me.
So be it, Jedi.
Energy bolts shot from the Emperor's hands, hammering Luke to the floor. Seeing his son hurt, Vader seized the wicked ruler. The deadly bolts then struck the Dark Lord, but he managed to throw the Emperor into a deep pit. Vader crawled weakly to Luke.
Go, my son. Leave me.
No. I've got to save you.
You already have.
Then Vader slumped over. Luke stumbled sadly to his shuttle and blasted off. Aboard the Millennium Falcon, Lando shouted,
They did it! The shield is down. Let's go.
Lando led a squadron of fighters through a maze of girders and pipes in the half-built Death Star.
There's the main reactor. Fire!
The concussion missiles shot out.
Direct hit!
The Death Star rocked with a chain of explosions. The Millennium Falcon raced away, just inches ahead of the terrible explosion. That night on Endor, the rebels celebrated at the Ewok village, laughing and dancing around a large bonfire. But Luke's thoughts were elsewhere.
I can't believe it's over, Leia. The Imperial fleet's destroyed, the Death Star exploded, the Emperor dead, and my father.
Leia hugged him.
Come join us, my brave Jedi.
She led him back to their circle of friends, heroes together to the end.